What's up guys, welcome back. This is Anime Fiction. You'll be watching What If Naruto Was Reborn as a Phenix God Part 12. Now let's begin. After Naruto discovered the amber, he promptly announced it was time for lunch. He preferred not to disturb the amber at this time. After the exploration concluded, he would release the X-Men who were trapped. So, Naruto ensured the crystal was securely stored in his inventory, assuring everyone that he would open it in a controlled environment for their safety. Later, he presented a wide array of bento boxes from his inventory, each one packed with a delightful assortment of dishes, with a focus on Japanese cuisine for today's menu. He had hired a highly skilled chef from Japan to prepare all of this. He had purchased numerous high-priced bottles of sake to complement the concept. Please help yourselves. Indulge in a delightful feast and quench your thirst to your heart's desire. There is plenty more where that came from. He confidently used his telekinesis to afford to float the food and drinks to everyone. As expected, the teachers were the only ones permitted to enjoy alcoholic beverages, while the others indulged in non-alcoholic juices and shakes. Krakoa transformed the island's trees, creating an orchard adorned with Japanese cherry blossom trees. The atmosphere was perfect as they engaged in conversation, shared drinks, and enjoyed a delightful time of relaxation. Some individuals found it more enjoyable than others, such as Wolverine, who managed to consume a significant portion of Naruto's sake supply without any adverse effects. Surprisingly, this did not bother Naruto in the slightest. He showed no concern whatsoever. He was occupied with being attended to by all of his companions who had mostly embraced the concept of sharing him and seemed to be comfortable with it, at least outwardly. Once the entire ordeal was finished, he made the decision to bring the adventure to a close. Alright, let's conclude our exploration at this point. Psylocke and her team have emerged victorious in the contest, and they are set to enjoy the spoils of their triumph, delectable meals prepared by skilled chefs, served 3 times daily, for the entire upcoming week. However, the others need not be disheartened. I am confident that each of you will have opportunities to succeed the next time we embark on an adventure, Naruto proclaimed, a cheerful expression on his face. After that, he utilized a boom tube to transport everyone back to the school from the mansion through Aiza. I will accompany you to Earth tomorrow, my friend. Until then, it would be advisable to start packing your belongings if you have any, Naruto said with a light-hearted remark before returning to Earth. He still had to open the amber crystal and release the X-Men as planned. Ugh, I have a lot of obligations to fulfill, he quietly spoke to himself. Disappointment, that was his current state of mind. He hadn't felt any remorse since he joined Marvel. He was satisfied with everything he had accomplished until this moment. But he truly grasped the concept of regret when he shattered the amber crystal that held the X-Men captive and set them free. He had anticipated numerous potential scenarios that could arise during their journey, and he had taken proactive measures to be ready for them. He was well prepared for a confrontation, joining forces with him against the recently liberated X-Men. However, that was not the case. All of the X-Men appeared calm and composed, with the exception of Vulcan and Darwin, who seemed more energetic and robust. The two appeared distinct from the other trapped metahumans, as they had inexplicably fused into a single entity, perhaps in an effort to enhance their self-defense capabilities. However, the outcome of this amalgamation was beyond comprehension. It had resulted in a less-than-ideal outcome. The merged form appeared monstrous, resembling Dr. William Barkin, after he had been infected with the G-virus in Resident Evil. This outcome was unexpected, as based on his knowledge from the comics, the combined entity was supposed to possess immense power, with the dominant personality of Vulcan, and should have been able to escape from Krakoa while the other metahumans trapped there perished. However, it was evident that this was not true. Somehow, all the individuals trapped there managed to survive, except for Vulcan and Darwin, who were unable to merge successfully. Perhaps this was due to the influence of Naruto. Perhaps his mere presence had altered the timeline in a way similar to a flashpoint, causing events to unfold in unexpected ways. Perhaps the final result consistently appeared unchanged in all events, but the manner in which the outcome was achieved varied. Talk of an unappealing combination. Well, I suppose not everyone can achieve it like Goku and Vegeta can, Gwenpool suddenly appeared and exclaimed while enjoying an ice cream. "Aiza, could you please investigate the cause of this situation?" Naruto inquired, disregarding Gwen. "Based on my analysis, it appears that a portion of the energy required for a successful fusion was diverted to sustain the lives of the metahumans trapped within the crystal, resulting in insufficient energy for a complete transformation. Consequently, they became stuck in their current form," Aiza concluded. "Understood. I suppose I can assist them in transforming into more aesthetically pleasing individuals, as it could be attributed to my presence that they find themselves trapped in their current state." Naruto contemplated the situation, yet he didn't feel inclined to place blame on himself. He remained silent and made the decision to treat the combined entity. With his Rinnegan activated, he carefully observed the souls of those around him, studying the intricate fusion of their bodies and life energies. "I was correct," he thought with satisfaction as he witnessed their souls intertwined like two strings. As a result of the unsuccessful merging of their souls, the energy flowing through their bodies, or in this case, a single body, was also abnormal. Darwin's body was intended to be transformed into pure energy to empower Vulcan, allowing him to escape and survive. This would have allowed Darwin to continue existing within Vulcan. However, that did not occur. Because of a lack of energy, the transformation ended up being unsuccessful, and to make matters worse, their souls became entangled instead of coexisting harmoniously. Naruto utilized his advanced techniques, merging his supernatural powers with his exceptional spiritual prowess. He delicately reached into their physical forms, infusing minute traces of divine energy. Gradually, he untangled their souls and separated them with great care. Consequently, the body also started to respond and took on the form of their original souls. It appeared to be undergoing the process of mitosis and producing two distinct organisms. "Wow, that's the most bizarre thing I've ever witnessed in my entire life, and I've seen some pretty strange stuff," Gwenpool exclaimed. Her face contorted in Naruto, as usual, disregarded her, making an effort to suppress his laughter and remained focused on his work. After completing the entire process, he successfully separated the two and skillfully cut apart the last bit of skin, connecting them while swiftly using divine healing to mend all of their injuries and unseen damages. "Impressive, you certainly possess great strength, don't you?" Emma said. She had arrived at his headquarters to spend time with Naruto out of sheer boredom and curiosity about his activities involving the massive amber. "Did you really believe I am weak or something?" Naruto arched an eyebrow. He had engaged in numerous conflicts in her presence, leaving him perplexed as to why she found this modest demonstration more captivating than his previous exhibitions of power. No, witnessing a fight is quite common in a world where many metahumans possess godlike powers. However, it is moments like these that truly make one question whether mortal beings who fight like gods can truly transcend their mortal limitations. "But you are certainly one." Emma observed the struggling forms of Vulcan and Darwin. Naruto did not refute the statement in any way. "Anyway, let's reach out to Aurora, Jean, and the rest of the group. It would be beneficial to have the original X-Men provide an explanation regarding their prolonged entrapment in Amber and the lack of rescue efforts." Naruto confidently conveyed a telepathic message to them. "I sincerely hope they do not attempt any harm towards Professor Xavier. He is already quite ineffective and has a large number of his students harboring violent intentions towards him." He pondered as he let out a sigh, sympathizing with Charles' misfortune. It is often observed that individuals may become more confident or self-assured as they acquire a greater depth of knowledge. I have always believed it to be true. In both fiction and my previous world, the statement was generally accurate. Some highly skilled individuals often develop a sense of superiority and tend to underestimate those they perceive as less intelligent. And it's exactly what happened with Sinister 2 this time. I couldn't help but think to myself as I observed the motionless form of Wolverine before me. Naruto believed it would be a challenge to locate Mr. Sinister. He was incredibly skilled at concealing his presence, to the point where even advanced detection methods like Cerebra, Ziaiza, or any other means were unable to locate him. However, it appears that the scientist's confidence has become excessive, as he personally provided a clue: X-24. Naruto couldn't recall the identity of X-24 in the comics, but in the movies he was portrayed as a clone, specifically a younger iteration of the character known as Old Man Logan. However, in this case, X-24 was a clone of Logan who not only possessed all of his enhancements and abilities but also displayed some of Beast's physical features and the ability of limited adaptation. He was created to be an exceptional weapon, taking inspiration from Logan. His mission was unsuccessful the moment he stepped onto the school grounds. Jean happened to be practicing her extrasensory perception ability, enveloping the entire school in a domain of psychic energy. She immediately detected his presence as soon as he approached the vicinity, leading to him receiving a severe thrashing from Jean. I suppose both myself and the girls are becoming quite skilled at winning fights. He reflected on the incident where he successfully defeated Vulcan a few days ago, after the enraged teenager attempted to harm Professor X and cause destruction at the school out of frustration from being abandoned. It was quite a challenge for Vulcan to defeat Vulcan, given his incredible energy absorption and manipulation abilities. However, after undergoing magical training with Morgana, he discovered a way to gain an advantage. Using a single spell, he created a sphere of darkness that isolated them from external sources of energy. Taking advantage of this, Vulcan proceeded to teach Vulcan a lesson by using a black receiver to whip him until he admitted defeat and promised to refrain from attempting such things in the future. Despite Vulcan's supposed villainous nature in the comics, he still exhibited a mentality reminiscent of a teenager. He had anger issues indeed, but his brother, Cyclops, was far more irritating. After a considerable amount of time explaining the importance of the situation, Vulcan eventually settled down and expressed remorse for his behavior towards Naruto. He also expressed gratitude for Naruto's life-saving actions. Did you discover any information by delving into his thoughts? Naruto inquired Jean about the details of her encounter with X-24 and how she managed to subdue him. No, he seems to possess a certain level of psychic resistance. If I attempted to access his memories without caution, his mental state would be irreparably damaged. So I was patiently awaiting your decision. She responded, "It is of little consequence whether his mind is shattered or not. He doesn't provide any value to us regardless. We require his memories and his knowledge of Sinister. However, it was fortunate that you didn't attempt to handle it on your own. I wanted to gain some experience with my own newfound telepathic powers, and this seemed like the perfect opportunity for me to put them to the test." Naruto grinned as he observed the imitation Wolverine, fully focused on unleashing his formidable abilities. He typically maintained his telepathy in a deactivated state or at a minimal power level, allowing him to only slightly perceive the emotions of others. He had a distinct advantage thanks to the multitude of powers he acquired from his system as perks. All of them belonged to him, and he had complete control over their activation, deactivation, power levels, and intensity, as if he were using a simple on and off switch. He currently only utilized this feature with his telepathy since he had no desire to endure passively like Jean and pick up inappropriate thoughts from all around him. As he readied himself to delve into X-24's mind, he heightened his telepathic abilities to their utmost potential and focused intently on penetrating the young man's thoughts. As he delved into his thoughts, he encountered a faint resistance in the shape of a mental barrier, which seemed as fragile as a sheet of paper to him. His Omega-level mental probe couldn't be slowed down. There were only a handful of individuals who could rival his exceptional telepathic abilities. There was no one else with psionic powers greater than his own, except for Jean. However, her abilities surpassed his due to her recent transformation into a beyond Omega-level telepath after absorbing the Dark Phoenix. Once Naruto entered his mind, all of the fabricated memories and knowledge of the imposter Wolverine suddenly became crystal clear to him. He comprehended the motive behind his assault and Mr. Sinister's audacity. The scientist, who was highly skilled and experienced, was in a desperate situation. He required a DNA sample from Jean in order for his experiment to be successful. That's why he decided to take this risk and send X-24, hoping that he could discreetly obtain Jean's DNA sample from her room. However, it is surprising that he underestimated Jean's telepathic abilities to effortlessly expose the imposter Wolverine and extract crucial information about Mr. Sinister and his whereabouts from the imposter's thoughts. Perhaps he did. Perhaps Mr. Sinister underestimated his own intelligence. Perhaps this entire situation was a setup. However, a trap loses its effectiveness if you are aware of the trapper's intentions to ensnare you. It's a face-off, he thought to himself as he nodded. He showed no concern about whether this was a trap or not. This was an opportunity for him to eliminate a highly threatening adversary from his extensive roster of formidable foes, and he was prepared to seize it. Jean, prepare the Amen. It's time for their inaugural assignment, he said with a serious expression. Seriously, Naruto? Is that correct? Your naming sense is so questionable that I can't even fathom what you would name our future children if entrusted with the task. Jean gave him a weary look, clearly fed up with his constant naming jokes. All right, prepare the X-Force, the user reluctantly said. But honestly, Amen isn't really that bad. It exudes an air of excellence. Plus, don't forget about Adam. Okay? Naruto attempted to showcase his exceptional naming abilities, but unfortunately, she simply shook her head and closed her eyes, focusing on instructing the team to prepare for their inaugural mission and gather in the mission room. Are you confident that they are prepared for this? They have limited practical field experience. Jean asked with concern after she finished mentally transmitting the broadcast. They should be. They received top-notch training from highly skilled individuals. The Danger Room and the simulations program by Aiza herself had thoroughly equipped them to handle any situation they might encounter during a mission in the real world. If they were able to endure those challenges, then I am confident they can endure this mission too, Naruto stated calmly as he gently placed X-24's lifeless form onto the ground, having successfully extracted all the necessary information from his mind. The imposter Wolverine was essentially deceased at this point. Despite his heart still beating, his mind had vanished, leaving behind only the eerie sight of liquid brain matter slowly dripping from his ears and nose. Let's proceed. If the mission goes according to plan, we may obtain the final piece of data required to complete our research on modifying and evolving the X-genes, he said as he opened a boom tube. However, at that precise instant, a compact, translucent blue panel illuminated directly in front of his vision, accompanied by a recognizable chiming sound. Tension. A quest has been generated. World choice detected. Please select one of the following options. 1. Clones, how repulsive. Objective, eliminate Mr. Sinister completely. Please be aware that this specific task must be finished within a 12-hour time frame. Reward, Witcher-verse spellcode complete. Item card. 2. Your adversaries may possess clones with extraordinary abilities. So why is it not possible for you to do it? Objective, successfully recruit Sinister into your faction and establish a strong sense of loyalty. Please note that this task must be completed within 12 hours. Claim your reward, the Pantheon Creation perk card. 3. Clones are living beings. 2. Deserving the same respect as any other life. Assist them in reaching their full potential. Objective, assist Sinister in creating duplicates of all individuals with superhuman abilities. Important, this task must be completed within the next 12 hours. Prize title cards for those who appreciate uniqueness and disdain conformity, along with a transformation where clones replace ordinary individuals. Additional note 1. If the mission is not completed within the time limit, no penalties will be imposed. Additional note 2. Punishments are not administered by the system but rather are the likely consequences of the host's own decisions and behavior. What on earth? This has a significant impact on various aspects. With these rewards, I can effectively address many of my challenges. However, the challenge lies in the fact that I can only obtain one of them, either the spell code or the Pantheon Creation card. This is because I have the option to either eliminate Sinister or persuade him to join my cause. Naruto considered his options, deep in thought. He would never entertain the third option, as it always seemed to be a flawed attempt at humor or a faulty system. However, the first two choices were too impressive to dismiss either of them. He attempted to deceive the system by eliminating Sinister and subsequently reviving him, but unfortunately, the first task explicitly stated that even his soul must be eradicated, making cheating an impossibility. He was torn between choosing the spell code and the perk card, as he found both to be equally valuable. One option appeared to offer the opportunity to harness the magic system of the Witcher world, while the other seemed to provide the means to create a personal pantheon by granting the power to elevate others to godhood. So Naruto couldn't make a decision and ended up choosing both options. Given the absence of any restrictions, he had the freedom to make last-minute decisions based on the circumstances and receive rewards without facing any consequences. Everyone is in the mission room, Jean informed Naruto, interrupting his thoughts after a while. Let's proceed then. It's time to engage in the Clone Wars. He quietly muttered the last part to himself, a sly smile playing on his lips as he chuckled at his own joke. I have successfully repaired your celestial armor using adamantium from the recovered weapon plus black sites and anti-metal samples obtained by Morgana and Celine from Savage Island, the professional assistant reported. I also enhanced its technology as well. While it may not be flawless, this version should be significantly improved compared to the previous one, Aiza remarked as a boom tube unexpectedly opened, revealing a glass box that materialized before her. Oh, thank you, Aiza. I had nearly overlooked my absence of armor. This would be quite beneficial in the future. Naruto observed the alluring armor displayed within the glass case. You are welcome, sir. I am committed to providing you with the highest level of service, and ensuring your complete satisfaction is my top priority, Aiza said, exuding a confident and persuasive demeanor. Give it a try on Naruto. I would like to see how you appear in it. Jean strongly encouraged him to put it on. She didn't have to ask Naruto twice, as he was also intrigued by the armor and promptly opened the glass container. As soon as the box was opened, the armor effortlessly split into distinct pieces resembling hexagonal-shaped scales. They gracefully levitated towards Naruto, seamlessly adhering to his body and gradually assembling into a complete suit of armor. The product provided a high level of comfort and a perfect fit, as if it was tailor-made for him. It's impressive, Naruto murmured. Wow, you look amazing, Jean said, her face turning red with embarrassment. It utilizes the mechanism of unstable molecules that were developed by a highly skilled scientist named Reed Richards. I have applied that to both your armor and the team's latest costumes. The armor's greatest strength lies in its ability to adapt to your abilities and evolve alongside you while also offering an additional level of durability. Impressive. This is excellent. By the way, Aiza, please monitor Reed Richards and the company he is associated with. Please notify me immediately if there is any interaction between him and Susan Storm or Victor Von Doom from Latveria. Naruto confidently commanded, cracking his fingers, as he mentally willed Aiza to open a boom tube to the mission room of the academy through their newly re-established connection. Come on, Jean, we need to take care of a deranged scientist, he stated as he stepped into the portal, with Jean trailing behind him. Emerging from the portal on the other side, they were greeted by a group of familiar faces. Polaris, Iceman, Pyro, Aurora, Wolverine, Scott, Nightcrawler, Shadowcat, Colossus, and Quicksilver stood before them, all donned black and gray outfits with hints of red. They appeared incredibly impressive, resembling a formidable group of skilled individuals. Great, everyone is already here. Allow me to begin by elucidating the purpose of this gathering. If you decide to accept this mission, your objective is to infiltrate a highly secure facility belonging to a renowned scientist with a penchant for cloning individuals. Your task is to neutralize any opposition you encounter, ensuring that the scientist is no longer a danger to the metahuman community. Keep in mind that this scientist, known as Mr. Sinister, is a highly unscrupulous individual who lacks any sense of morality and has conducted numerous inhumane experiments on metahumans. He may have even created duplicates of each of you to work for him. It is important to refrain from showing any leniency towards him, as doing so may result in him reciprocating the same behavior in the future. Any questions? Naruto appeared before them with the demeanor of a seasoned and commanding leader. What about Wanda and Anna? Will they be joining us too? They received training with us as part of X-Force, Kitty said, looking perplexed. I inform her about the team's initial mission, which involves the possibility of engaging in combat and even eliminating individuals, potentially including their own clones. Surprisingly, her first inquiry pertains to the absence of two of her friends. Is she a highly skilled professional or something? Naruto pondered silently. Wanda and Anna are still in the process of honing their abilities. They are currently experiencing some challenges with their abilities, And once those challenges are resolved, I anticipate that they will be able to join you on missions." Naruto responded, "I understand and respect your perspective." Kitty gave a confirming nod. "Do you have any further inquiries?" Naruto inquired, and 3 additional hands promptly shot up in response. "Are there any questions that are unrelated to your friends?" he asked, expressing a sense of weariness this time. Everyone's raised hands quickly lowered. "Great, let's proceed. We are running behind schedule." Additionally, it is important to keep in mind that if you happen to encounter your friends after a period of separation, it is advisable to utilize specific phrases or signals to verify their authenticity and ensure that they are not imposters. He suggested instructing Aiza to open a boom tube directly to the facility that Naruto had discovered through X-Force's thoughts. As a familiar red portal materialized, Naruto led the way inside, with Jean and the rest of the X-Force close behind. The location where they emerged from the portal had the appearance of a deserted, dilapidated structure reminiscent of an underground bomb shelter. Naruto remained silent, tapping into his telepathy and cosmic senses to focus on detecting all activity within a 10-kilometer radius. He encountered a disruption that hindered his telepathic abilities, greatly restricting them. However, his cosmic sense remained unaffected by any such issues. They sensed several life forces nearby, coming from various directions. A few of them were approaching them at this very moment. He detected numerous cameras and sensors on him, which provided an explanation for how they were aware of their presence so quickly. "Jean and I will proceed. The remaining individuals should form pairs and proceed in separate directions. It appears that telepathy may not function as expected, so neither I nor Jean will be able to establish a connection between all of your minds. However, you still have your communicators in your suits, allowing you to seek assistance if any of you encounter a problem," Naruto said with a sense of authority, as everyone nodded in agreement. They quickly linked their communicators together and efficiently dispersed in various directions. "Shall we go and check if Mr. Sinister has any surprises in store for us? Jean, by the way, what are your thoughts on the idea of having a potential baby clone sister?" Wolverine and Scott joined forces. "Please maintain a safe distance behind me, Scott. If you dare to lay a finger on me, I will swiftly incapacitate you before your opponent even has a chance." Logan sighed as he walked ahead of Scott with a low rumble. "What? When did I touch you? I was just admiring your physique. Did you know that your chest hair is more abundant than that of the average person? They enhance the definition of your abs inexplicably." Scott observed Logan's lower body intently. "Chicharr," Logan grumbled, contemplating the possibility of committing a serious crime. He had been contemplating the idea of harming Scott for the past few weeks. He had not acted on them yet, but he was finding it increasingly difficult to maintain control as time went on. "Wait, do my eyes deceive me? Or is there another person who looks just like you?" Logan paused in his stride, his gaze fixed upon the duplicate Cyclops standing before him, an exact replica of the original. This particular individual was dressed in a white costume and appeared to be floating above the ground. "You're not alone in witnessing this phenomenon, as I behold the replica of your deceased archenemy," Scott remarked, observing a more muscular version of Sabretooth standing behind them. "Naruto was absolutely right about that wild guy creating copies of us. It appears that this Sinister has been quite active recently," he stated as his claws emerged from his hands. "Sure. By the way, was he always so attractive?" Scott inquired, admiring Sabretooth's impressive physique. "You know what, why don't you go inquire with him? You'll enjoy spending time with your clone while you engage in conversation with Sabretooth. I'm confident that he will be open to listening to you." Logan approached the Cyclops clone with a determined expression, fully intent on venting his frustration by dismantling it. Polaris and Aurora Monroe joined forces. When Naruto mentioned that we would be facing clones, I had anticipated encountering mindless experimental subjects resembling us and possessing our powers. But these two are intelligent, nearly as intelligent as we are. They have a remarkable ability to think and behave similarly to us. What is the most effective strategy for overcoming our opponents? Regardless of the strategy employed, they consistently find a way to retaliate. Polaris said with a clear display of frustration on her face. Indeed, I cannot deny that I am facing the same issue. It's quite impressive how these clones possess not only our powers but also an uncanny knowledge of our moves. Regardless of our efforts, they are already aware of it. Aurora confidently directed multiple bolts of lightning from nearby electric terminals towards her clone, only to have it effortlessly deflect them. By the way, Aurora, may I inquire about something? Polaris spoke with a hint of uncertainty as she skillfully crafted the metal sheets into formidable weapons, launching them with full force towards her doppelganger. Sure, go ahead, Aurora replied, continuing to unleash a torrent of lightning upon her adversary. Her clone effortlessly intercepted the bolts, skillfully redirecting them with the ease of a seasoned warrior, reminiscent of the legendary Yoda. There have been some rumors circulating about Adam, you, and Jean in the academy. According to some students, Adam is involved in a relationship with both you and Jean, which has led to speculation about his beliefs regarding polygamy. Is it true? Lorna asked, somehow managing to suppress her hesitation. Perhaps, but that's my personal life. I'm sorry, but I am unable to have that conversation with you, particularly because I am still your teacher. However, I'm curious to know where you acquired this information and what the students' opinions are regarding these rumors. Aurora spoke with a touch of detachment in her otherwise usual tone. Her proficiency in hurling lightning at her duplicate improved alongside her verbal commands. I don't have anything to share at the moment. The boys have largely embraced him as their idol, seeing him as the ultimate figure of admiration. The girls, on occasion, become curious about how distinct he might be from the other boys when it comes to intimate abilities, considering his divine nature. Lorna skillfully evaded a menacing metal whip, narrowly avoiding its deadly strike. I understand. However, this is not the appropriate moment or location to delve into that topic. Let's focus on defeating our clones first. Aurora expertly concluded the discussion on the topic. She didn't feel at ease discussing her personal life with her students. Certainly, Polaris replied, recognizing the potential for an uncomfortable conversation. She willingly agreed to change the subject and focused her attention on defeating her clone. Do you think they have put in the same level of practice and dedication as us, considering they possess our powers and knowledge of our moves? Polaris inquired with a smile, addressing Aurora. That's a great question indeed. Aurora reciprocated her smile as she ceased her lightning assault on her clone and shifted her attention to a novel technique she had been diligently refining over the past few weeks. Instead of emphasizing her raw power, she prioritized the aspect of control. As soon as she noticed Aurora stopping her attacks, her clone began to counter with lightning attacks of her own, attempting to push her back. However, the original Aurora displayed a minimal reaction, exerting only the necessary effort to redirect the lightning. Her eyes quickly turned white as she gazed at the clone, a subtle smirk playing on her lips. Let's see if you can prove your skills. With a simple gesture of her hands, the original Aurora effortlessly directed the flow of air within the space. The imposter storm quickly sensed the shift in the environment. She sensed the wind responding to her presence. She was experiencing difficulty breathing, as if the air within her lungs was desperately trying to escape. Aurora displayed an exceptional mastery of her atmokinesis, surpassing any previous demonstration on a living being. Wait, ich kennt die. I am supposed to be better. The clone was unable to complete her thoughts before gasping for air and collapsing on the ground, succumbing to the lack of oxygen. Did you cause her death? You disrespectful person. The imposter Polaris grew increasingly furious as she made a desperate attempt to strike Aurora with a steel blade under her control. However, the real Lorna effortlessly thwarted her assault. She skillfully deflected every piece of metal that came near her and Aurora, displaying her expertise with flawless precision. I'm glad you're not just another version of my father, Polaris said with a smirk, as an iron spear suddenly emerged from the ground and impaled the clone. I have been diligently crafting that spear underground, gathering iron minerals for the past 5 minutes. She explained to the lifeless clone, casually flicking her hair, that our electromagnetic vision is ineffective when trying to see beneath the ground. Lorna, Please refrain from boasting in front of others. Let's get started. We still have tasks remaining. I find it hard to accept that they are the sole replicas created by the scientist. We should make an effort to locate any additional duplicates of ourselves and remove them, Ororo confidently stated as she resumed her stride, with Lorna trailing behind. Iceman and John Allardyce joined forces. You were not supposed to melt him, Pyro. That was harsh. You could have accomplished this without causing harm, Bobby said with frustration. He was quite frustrated to see his clone lying in a puddle of cold water in front of John. Oh really, and what about what you did to my duplicate? Your clone was completely immobilized. He did not deserve that. He could have had a more favorable outcome. Perhaps a cold sensation piercing his chest would have been a fitting end. But no, you just had to demonstrate your incredible ice powers. Didn't you? Pyro expressed dissatisfaction. They had successfully defeated their clones. Instead of attempting to overcome their clones individually, they cleverly decided to exchange and confront each other's clones, significantly simplifying the task. Iceman faced off against Pyro's clone, while Pyro battled Iceman's clone, showcasing their expertise in utilizing their contrasting mutant powers to overcome their adversaries effectively. You know what, please pause. I am not providing a clear explanation. I did that out of necessity to prevent the clone. If I wanted to make a display, I would have showcased my new boyfriend or my new ice form. Bobby confidently showcased his ice form once again, making sure Pyro had a clear view. Okay, whatever you say, Ice Heart. But I am no doubt much hotter than you. Pyro smirked victoriously at his own pun and flamed up. Now, let's go and eliminate some more duplicates, he said as he confidently walked forward in search of his new target with an annoyed Bobby in tow. Colossus and Quicksilver joined forces. And that's yet another one, and another one, and another one. Oops, it appears that I have once again successfully dealt with all the clones in this area. Seems like you'll have some free time on your hands. Huh? Quicksilver swiftly incapacitated another clone with remarkable speed, delivering a forceful blow to their head using his baton, which he skillfully wields as a weapon. Acceptable. You are free to have as much fun as you desire. Pyotr, the big teddy bear with his Russian accent, nonchalantly remarked, seemingly unfazed by his lack of action. Instead, he prioritized being a supportive friend to Pietro and offering encouragement in his endeavors. Is this some sort of advanced psychology or something? Is this what they call winning through kindness? Alright, I understand. I will entrust you with handling the next few clones, but please keep in mind that I will expect a favor in return, alright? Most of the clones appear to mimic Scott, so watching him meet his demise in unique and innovative ways, captured in slow motion, is always captivating. It never gets dull, considering how much of a nuisance he is to me and everyone else. Pietro remarked while gently patting Colossus' metallic back, as the latter stood in his impressive metal form. Excuse me? Alright, I suppose. Colossus hesitated, uncertain about how to respond to Pietro's words. During their conversation, an additional Scott clone suddenly emerged and attempted to attack them with concussive blasts. Nevertheless, Quicksilver effortlessly evaded the attack and swiftly positioned himself behind his opponent. With lightning speed, he delivered a powerful kick from behind, propelling the clone towards Colossus. Reacting swiftly, Colossus utilized his formidable metal arm to forcefully strike the clone, rendering him unconscious and causing significant injury, including a bloody mouth and a potential skull fracture. Well, that was quite enjoyable, Colossus murmured to himself. I understand, don't you agree? Now, let's see who can eliminate more clones. The loser will have to treat the winner to dinner, Pietro confidently said as he zoomed forward in search of his next target. That's unjust. Pyotr reluctantly followed him, struggling to keep pace with the speedster. Naruto and Jean Grey joined forces. Wow, this is incredible. Can you estimate the number of these he made? Jean observed the unconscious Cyclops clone suspended in a glass tube. Jean and Naruto were currently in what appeared to be the central research room of the facility. They had already taken down numerous Cyclops and Wolverine clones on their journey. The clones, despite their supposed power, fell far short of the original's abilities. The two effortlessly slaughtered everyone, showing no signs of exertion. In most cases, the original version would come out victorious in a battle against their clones, demonstrating their superior abilities. It was evident that the originals possessed a higher level of expertise, superior mastery of their abilities, and a wealth of experience accumulated over a lifetime, which set them apart from their younger clones. Furthermore, Naruto had a different perspective on the limitations of clones compared to the originals. This was a world of superheroes, and it is widely recognized that superheroes can become stronger over time, much like protagonists in shonen stories when the narrative demands it. Quite a bit. It appears that Sinister has a peculiar fixation on Cyclops. It's worth noting that a significant portion of the clones he created are actually replicas of himself. I wonder if he utilizes them for purposes beyond missions and scientific studies. Perhaps he is involved in unconventional social gatherings with individuals who have unique characteristics. Naruto responded with a confident smirk. Oh my goodness, was it necessary to mention that? I just envisioned it mentally, and now I feel nauseated. Jean said with a displeased expression. Naruto wanted to keep up his light-hearted banter, but he quickly detected a presence in their vicinity. Presence was detected, drawing near. The individual approaching displayed a life signature that differed from the clones they had previously vanquished with ease. This was a remarkable occurrence, something that surpassed ordinary duplicates. It appears that I have arrived punctually. I am delighted to finally meet both of you. I apologize. I apologize for my tardiness, but I had to deal with another attempted escape by one of my prisoners. These shapeshifters, they are absolutely terrible. An imposing figure approached them, exuding an air of authority and confidence. His unique attire, complete with a cape, added to his commanding presence. "Excuse me, are you Mr. Sinister?" Adam inquired, his brow raised inquisitively as he observed the new arrival. "Indeed, it seems you are aware of my true identity as well, Nathaniel Essex. It appears that your computer possesses the intelligence to uncover every detail of my past. Thank you for addressing me by my proper title. I prefer that name much more. There's a certain charm to it, don't you think?" Sinister greeted them with a smile, though his unusual appearance made it appear rather unsettling. "I agree. Yes, it does. May I inquire about the purpose of this gathering? Based on my understanding, it seems that you sent X-24 to entice us to come to your base. Would you be interested in discussing potential resolutions or perhaps finding a mutually beneficial agreement?" Naruto also returned his smile and inquired. He was hesitant to eliminate Sinister too quickly. He wasn't sure if he would harm him. Regardless of Naruto's decision, it will be influenced by Sinister's next move. "Harm you? Is it me you're referring to? Haha, that's a truly hilarious joke. Definitely the highlight of my week. How could someone so effortlessly destroy my last master when they were just a newborn? Sorry, Adam, but that's not something I can do. There seems to be no point in even attempting. What am I going to do? Engage in physical combat with you or attempt to manipulate your thoughts? Whatever I attempt, you likely have the expertise to surpass it effortlessly." Sinister chuckled gleefully as he spoke. "Yeah, I suppose," Naruto acknowledged, without disputing his own considerable strength in comparison to the scientist. "I am unable to discern his thoughts. It feels as though I am attempting to decipher an impenetrable barrier." Jean said quietly, her eyebrows furrowed. Naruto understood that attempting to decipher the thoughts of cunning villains like Sinister would be futile. They always maintained multiple technical and psychological barriers to safeguard their confidential information. And someone like Sinister was no exception. Attempting to decipher my thoughts would prove futile, Miss Gray. I had a chip installed in my brain to prevent any psychic waves from reaching my mind. I am not as skilled in telepathy as you are, and as you have demonstrated in the past, even powerful telepaths like Xavier are not immune to your mind-altering abilities. After observing his error, I developed this innovative creation. There are no telepathic or telekinetic powers that can affect the chip, and as a result, my mind remains unaffected as well. Mr. Sinister provided an explanation. "Impressive, you clearly put in a lot of effort for this, didn't you?" Naruto inquired with a sense of amusement. "Indeed, I did. I became a fan of yours after witnessing your defeat of Apocalypse. I had devoted my entire life to creating the ultimate being capable of permanently eliminating Apocalypse, yet you accomplished that feat in under a day. Your work surpassed anything I could ever create. You seem to be the embodiment of excellence, or at least that's what I initially believed. Mr. Sinister stated as he strolled around. What do you mean? He is absolutely flawless. Jean stated firmly as her eyes glowed with intensity. Indeed, his body is. However, his mind is not. He is limited by his sense of compassion. Despite your divine status, Adam, your behavior doesn't quite reflect that of a deity. Does it? No, you behave like a human being. You have a great deal of potential and power, but you seem to waste it without much regard. I find it quite frustrating. Mr. Sinister expressed his disappointment with a shake of his head. Impressive. Thank you for your kind words. I really appreciate it. I haven't received such high praise even from my own supporters before. To demonstrate my gratitude, allow me to explain why I exercise restraint instead of swiftly conquering the entire planet. Just because it would lack excitement. I may be a deity, but even divine beings experience mundane routines. I don't want to jeopardize the positive narrative I have established for myself. I prefer to approach things at a steady pace and savor the journey, making sure to have a good time rather than hurrying and potentially regretting it later. Naruto honestly expressed his genuine thoughts. That's not a wise decision. One should prioritize their professional relationships over personal enjoyment. You possess extraordinary abilities. Strive to reach the pinnacle of success and exert your influence over all that lies below. That's what perfection signifies. Sinister exclaimed loudly, momentarily losing his composure. Metahumans, not mutants. Naruto pointed out Sinister's mistake. However, you have not been successful in accomplishing that. You have not achieved the level of excellence expected. Therefore, I had to intervene. Rest assured, I will ensure that you reach the level of greatness you are destined for, surpassing even your own expectations. He took a deep breath and confidently pressed a button on his bracelet, completely unfazed by Naruto's presence. Almost immediately, two sturdy metal pods emerged from the ground nearby. They appeared as large, metallic white eggs. Are those what I believe they are? Naruto's smile, which had been relaxed until now, vanished as he observed the pods with curiosity. He detected significant levels of raw power emanating from one of the pods, as if it were emitting a type of psychic energy, while the other pod emitted pure cosmic energy. I have the ability to create clones of every mutant, so I decided to explore the idea of creating clones of the most powerful mutants I am familiar with. Why not strive for even greater perfection? Why not eliminate the barriers that prevent individuals from reaching their maximum potential? And that's what I accomplished. I created a pair of duplicates. Ha 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 ha. The sinister character chuckled with the air of a stereotypical mad scientist, admiring his creations. I'm sorry, but that's not possible. Cloning my cells is not possible. Naruto focused his gaze. Aiza had informed Naruto after conducting extensive tests and simulations that cloning him was not feasible due to the exceptional and extraordinary properties of his cells. Furthermore, Naruto was confident that systems could not be replicated. Maybe not for a scientist in the field, but I received assistance from a mutual acquaintance of ours. He equipped me with all the necessary tools, rituals, and information about gods to create him. All I needed was more data on the energy that coursed through your veins. Once I had collected enough data while you were battling the Cyclops army, success was inevitable. Sinister detailed his entire plan in a manner reminiscent of a classic villain from the 90s before returning to his refined and polished demeanor. So, you requested my presence to gather more information about me? That was an excellent plan, in fact. Did you plan that independently, or did you receive any assistance? Additionally, what about the other pod? Naruto inquired, seeking additional details. He inquired about the second pod, despite having some prior knowledge of its contents. He had already utilized his Rinnegan and attempted to peer into the pods. The pods were equipped with a powerful magical barrier, rendering his Rinnegan ineffective. His cosmic sense could only provide a vague glimpse of the figures within. Are you still searching for more information? Well, I suppose I can share my accomplishments with you, considering I've reached all my goals and attained everything I set out to achieve. I created the plan independently, although I did receive assistance from the extraordinary precognition abilities of a mutant known as Destiny. It was surprisingly effortless to intimidate her by holding her wife, Rave Darkholme, also known as Mystique, hostage after I successfully abducted them. Regarding these additional pods, I suppose they will be quite a pleasant surprise, won't they? Can I really reveal all the details? With a smile on his face, he glanced at both Naruto and Jean before confidently pressing another button on his bracelet. Naruto should have been able to stop Sinister by now. He simply needed to approach him quickly, immobilize his wrist, and retrieve his bracelet before he had a chance to react. He could also utilize his exceptional telekinetic abilities to immobilize him completely. However, Naruto was not inclined to do that. He was curious to witness Sinister's creation. He was interested in catching a glimpse of his own clone. As the pods gradually opened, Naruto observed the figures inside them with clarity. In one of the pods, a man was lying with his eyes closed, bearing a striking resemblance to Naruto, except for his brown hair instead of Naruto's silver locks. Inside the second pod, there was a girl lying there, bearing an uncanny resemblance to Jean Grey. "You cloned me?" Jean asked, sounding surprised. "Indeed, two deities crafted by my own hands. They may be duplicates, but they surpass the originals in quality." Sinister grinned. "Are you certain? Would you like to put it to the test?" Naruto inquired with a grin as he activated his Rinnegan. "Certainly. It would be my pleasure to observe your downfall caused by my own creations. Swader, Madeline, demonstrate to our guests the true essence of your excellence," ordered with a sinister intent. Upon receiving the order, the clones' eyes snapped open, their gazes fixed directly on Naruto and Jean. Swader, or what Mr. Sinister referred to as Naruto's clone, was the first to emerge from his pod. However, as soon as he began walking, he stumbled and lost his balance. Then he started trembling as if his bones were transforming into gelatin, the muscles in his body searing like a well-done steak, and his blood literally boiling. A mesmerizing transformation took place as smoke billowed from his body, accompanied by a radiant golden energy seeping through the cracks that formed on his skin. Gradually, these cracks widened until an explosive burst of cosmic energy engulfed everything in its vicinity. Sinister was completely unaware of what had transpired. He was completely taken aback. He stood there in disbelief, unsure of what had gone awry. Stay tuned for more. With that, this video comes to a close. I want to thank you for taking the time to see this video. Leave a like, subscribe, and watch the following video if you liked this one.